All right, so we have been talking about force and we have been trying to understand what a force is, but Newton's first law is a perfect and very precisely it describes what a force is and it describes the nature of a force and it will help you understand the concept of a force. So let's actually get into the understanding of Newton's first law. All right, so let me switch to colors and Newton's first law actually states that an object, an object right? So we are talking about an object or any body, right, at rest. So if an object is at a rest position or moving, or even if it is moving at a constant velocity. So there are two cases that we have discussed in this first line that I've written here. So an object at rest or moving at a constant velocity or speed, right? Moving at constant velocity in straight line. This is also included in straight line. We are not talking about circular motion yet. In straight line will, so this is the first actually the line that I've written here, an object at rest. So the first case is that an object is staying at rest or moving at constant velocity, right, in straight line will remain will remain right? So it at rest, will remain at rest, or at or it will keep moving, or will remain at rest, or it will or keep moving at constant velocity, at constant velocity in a straight line, in a straight line, unless, so this is the important thing that I'm going to write at the end, unless affected, or I should write affected, unless affected by a by a net external force, right? So I have written a pretty long statement, but if we break it down, it is pretty simple. That an object at rest, so there's an object that is at rest position, like staying at a position, or any object that is moving at a constant velocity. So it is moving, either its velocity is 0 meters per second, or you could just, write any unit, or its velocity is at any, constant value, for example, 10 meters per second. So both of the cases are uh, justified for the Newton's first law. So object at rest or moving at a constant velocity in a straight line, we have to assume that will remain at rest or keep moving at a constant velocity. So if an object is at rest, it will stay at rest. Or if the object is moving at a constant velocity, it will always be staying at a constant velocity unless affected by a net external force. So unless we affect it with, or exert a net external force on it, it will tend to stay at rest or the constant velocity that it is moving with, right? So this is pretty simple to understand, and it defines the definition of a force, that force always causes the change in the state of an object. If the state of an object is rest, it is at 0 meters per second, it is staying at rest, it will stay at rest unless you apply a net external force to it. Or if it is moving at a constant velocity, let's say at 3 meters per second, so it will always be moving at 3 meters per second forever unless you apply a net external force to it. So if you apply a net external force to it, if you apply a net external force in the direction at which it is moving, its velocity will increase. So it will change its velocity. Or if you just apply the net external force in the opposite direction to the motion of the object, then its velocity will decrease. So net external force will always cause a decrease or increase or I could say a change in the velocity of the object that is moving. So it will no more stay constant, it will change to a new value. So it is pretty simple to understand. It defines what a force is, and we have been discussing that force always cause an object. It's an effect or influence that causes an object to go under some change. And we have been talking about the change in velocity and the change in motion. So Newton first law, precisely defines what a force is, and the force actually is described as something that, or an influence that actually changes the velocity of an object, right? So if something is at rest, it will stay at rest, or if something is at constant velocity, it will stay at constant velocity unless you apply net external force to it. If you apply net external force to something, its velocity will no more stay the same, it will definitely change. So it's pretty simple to understand, and it precisely defines what a force is.